Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Doing the job the American media maggots won't. Fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Here is, courtesy of the SHR Media Network, the bloviating Zeppelin.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If Conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, you magnificent bastard, I read your book.
I drink your milkshake.
How dare you?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch.
Of course you realize
This means war.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, we're back, are we? Apparently so. So it just happens to be Thursday, July 15th, the year of our Lord, 2021. And welcome. Here we go. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, always spelled over the K, and I am now 7 miles south of the locus of evil on the entire left coast of the Bill Mill, the belly of the beast, the California Capitol building at 10th and L Streets in downtown Sacramento. Remember that tonight's show consists entirely of my opinion and my opinion only, and that this is an exhibition, not a competition, so please, no wagering. And back hair Bernadette is going to be your bartendress tonight. She pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is still lighted, although you can't see it because we're temporarily no longer doing video until we get ourselves to a free state. So the saloon, as always, however, continues to serve stiff drinks, facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense. We don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. Let there be no mistake, I love my country, but abjure its leftist leaders and anybody who won't put America first and its lawful citizens first, obey the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, uphold the rule of law, and embrace our due process. If that makes me a white supremacist, terrorist, extremist, then so be it. Tonight, in the saloon, we have the return of one of the greatest guests to have ever walked the face of the planet. And you know who it won't be because he's never been our guest. But anyway, that guest happens to be JEFF Dunetz. He of JEFF Dunetz fame, known as being famous for JEFF Dunetz, which is why, damn it, he is known as JEFF Dunetz on the East Coast, on the left coast, at on Central Time, on Pacific Time, even on Bolivian time. And you know how messed up Bolivian time is, folks. So welcome to Jeff Dunetz. How are you this evening, sir? Welcome and welcome.
That it's 6:45 in Baltimore?
Wait, people break out into applause. Just by your being here, they're breaking out into applause.
I'm breaking out into applause, too, because I love being here.
I broke out into hives once, but that's only because a Gila monster bit me. Anyway, Jeff Dunetz, it is great to see you back here for a while. Now, you have not been here since just about everything changed for SHR. And what I mean by that is because we were going to get kicked out of the studios we originally were located in, downtown in Sacramento. That's where I actually was, 2 miles east of the locus of evil. The house was going to get sold, and I had to move the studio, luckily with the help of Sackhead Sean. And because I didn't want to have to move the studio at the very last second when the house gets sold. So now I'm 7 miles south of downtown Sacramento. And you may or may not know that I'm not doing video.
Actually, the last time I was on the radio with you was the day the world changed, also known as Election Day.
Was it that November?
Yeah.
That long ago. Well.
Yeah, I had hair back then.
So much has changed. Yeah, I had hair and a red beard. And the hair was down to the middle of my back, and I was living in San Francisco. Oh wait, that's in the 60s and 70s. Never mind.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now.
I haven't lost any more hair. I've just pulled it out because everything's been so disgusting.
Well, I lost some hair and I got some back. And that's a strange way of saying, folks, when you get older, air quotes, older, like myself, what you discover is that what pit hair you may have had, it goes away. And then what hair you had on the top of your head, that goes away. And however, my nose hair is as fertile as ever, as is my back hair, which is why Back Hair Bernadette is serving tonight as our bartendress. And the other thing is that I have since grown eyebrows, not a monobrow, but eyebrows not unlike a Russian admiral that I have to trim. And the hell of it is that, you know, when you get older, you get gray hair. In my eyebrows, black hair is coming in. What the hell, Jeff Dunetz?
You don't have to shave your ears?
Oh, God, how could I forget my ears? Yes, that also is a fertile pasture. I have birds, when I go outside, attack my ears because it's known for great material for making nests locally.
But you don't understand. Now that you forgot to mention it, the woke culture is going to come after you.
Oh, the WEC, the woke ear culture. You're right.
You bet.
That deserves a... Because, folks, that's a thingy that I've had for many years. That's like a BZ convention. When somebody makes a statement on the air, on the show, that I really agree about, and I can't tell you how many guests I've scared by doing this. Oh.
So what have you done to piss off the woke culture today?
Oh, I attempt to do my very best. I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. I've just been all over Twitter, and for whatever reason, God, I really shouldn't say this because you know what's going to happen. I am really, really, really active still on Twitter, and the reason for that, I'm at BZEP, at BZEP. At BZEP on Twitter. Always have been really active on Twitter, and I still am very active on Twitter today. Oh, by the way, Sergeant Booker, welcome in chat, and Jack Alexander, welcome in chat. But I've always been very active on Twitter because, except for one time, nothing has ever happened to me on Twitter. And one time I got a 5-day, 10-day strike on Twitter because from gatewaypundit.com, I put in the article about Hunter Biden's laptop. And literally, it was this fast because I was on Twitter at the time watching. I literally inserted the article into Twitter. It wasn't more than 10 seconds before I got struck. And a message came back, you're suspended for 5 days, 10 days, whatever the hell it was.
Wait a second.
I've never seen.
Well, they not only banned you, but they hit you?
Yes. I had to go to the hospital. Or as the British say, I had to go to hospital. They don't believe in in England. But you already knew that. And so, except for that one time, Twitter has been very, very good to me. Now watch. Now, honestly, I've gotten away with some crap in Twitter, relatively speaking. Getting away with anymore is saying things like, the ground is beneath your feet and the sky is blue. No, it's not. So you get struck with things like that. Now, Facebook, I still have to be a little careful about. I put something in there about coronavirus. And not only did they label me, but they said no one else will be able to see this post. But they didn't give me any days on the beach or anything, which was kind of weird. So the last time, when was Jeff Dunetz? Jeff Dunetz, when was the last time that you got banished by either?
I spent most of 2020 in Facebook jail.
Did you really? Holy moly!
On and off. But then, for some strange reason, about 3 weeks before the election, they put me in jail, and I know about 30 other people that were put in jail, all conservative bloggers.
And that,
I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
That was well, no, because the funny thing is that was the last time that I was put in jail for. It was a 30-day suspension.
Right.
So that the 30 days would cover about 3 days past the November 8th election.
Bingo.
Isn't that funny how that works out?
And do you remember the big Facebook purge of 2018?
Yeah, I didn't get purged.
No, I didn't either. But guess what?
Okay.
It was conservatives and just before the election.
Oh, come on. Get out. No.
Wait a second. I'm in my own house. You can't kick me out.
Wait. Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, no. That can't be true.
It is.
How sad. How really sad that is.
Now, I'm sure it was just a coincidence.
Right.
It wasn't that they were trying to, screw the election for the Democrats. It was...
This just fell right into my lap, so to speak. Face up, though, luckily. Jack Alexander in chat says, the Hunter laptop story is one of the reasons I was permanently banned from YouTube. So Jack Alexander is permanently banned on YouTube.
Well, Jack, they don't have porn on YouTube anyway, so do you really care?
No, not really. Hey, that reminds me, though. We're going to go, folks, I'm talking to Jeff Dunetz tonight, a good friend of mine, whom I met digitally back in 2004, but we'll get into that, and he is my guest for tonight. And just to let you know, Jack Alexander is in chat. He has his own show called the Jack Alexander Experiment. So I'm going to pimp your show right now. Well, I do anyway. I play your promo on the breaks, Jack Alexander. But I will be on the Jack Alexander Experiment tomorrow night, Friday night. Now, this is U.S. This is the United States speaking. And I will be on Jack Alexander's show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, 1749 and 723.2, Closet 4, Paragraph 5, Grote Cluster 13 in Bolivian time. But that's because I could never quite understand Bolivian time. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific, Jack will be on for about an hour, and I will be there talking to Jack. And if you want to listen, go to jackalexanderexperiment.com, jackalexanderexperiment.com. For those of you who just tuned in, I'm talking to Jeff Dunetz, and you can go to jackalexanderexperiment.com if you want to hear BZ, me, one each on the Jack Alexander Experiment. Where was it, BZ? jackalexanderexperiment.com. But enough about me. What about you, Jeff Dunetz? Where can you be found, sir?
Lidblog.com.
Lidblog.com.
Or as we say in Hebrew, lidblog.com.
See, folks, do you note the subtle accent Jeff Dunetz brings to the show? Another major reason why I have him here, although apparently I've been purposely avoiding him since mid and early November of last damn year. Heavy sigh. Direct from the factory, that heavy sigh was, by the way. Hey, wait.
Well, that's okay. I think the technical term for that is shit happens.
It do. Oh, that reminds me. Who is your friend, Jeff Dunetz? And I can see his face, but I cannot remember his name. Who is in charge of Hot Air?
You mean Ed Morrissey?
Ed Morrissey. I was thinking of the name. I could see his face. Ed Morrissey is the dude that I scared the hell out of when I hit my bell. He really made any number of great statements throughout the show. And so I did that. And, I couldn't see him. It's audio only. But I could tell that this is something that he was not quite expecting. But that's just a BZ convention kind of thing. I have Jeff Dunetz on the show, folks.
Well, whenever I'm on Ed's show and he does video,
yeah,
I have to use a mouse. I can't use the touchpad. And whenever my hands go down to the mouse, I always have to remind him that my last name is Dunetz, not Tobin.
Wow. Ed said he would come back on the show, and he hasn't been here in over a year. I'll have to call him up and see how he's doing. Since last you spoke to him, Jeff Dunetz, how is Ed Morrissey doing, by the way?
Ed Morrissey is doing great. I haven't spoken to him since yesterday. But he's on vacation.
Okay.
So if you're going to try to reach him, you got to wait another week and a half.
Okay. Did he go to
Can you imagine now? What a slacker.
I know. Who the hell takes a week vacation these days in these tumultuous times? Number one, who has the money and who has the time? Guy.
What can I tell you?
Guy. So.
Especially, but you notice as soon as he left for vacation, Cuba went crazy.
No kidding. It went off OTDH. It went off the damn hook. Now, again, since I have pimped Jack Alexander's show, where I'm going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Pacific. That is jackalexanderexperiment.com. And also, if you happen to be in chat, which is where you should be, folks, if you happen to be listening in some kind of a random fashion or pattern, go to shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com, quick like a bunny, and you will find a little tab there that says Listen Live and Chat. Click on that, and you will be taken over to the chat room. The chat room is a wonderful experience, jam-packed with lots of great individuals. And in the chat room, Jack Alexander has also indicated that you can catch his live stream at twitch.tv/Jack Alexander Experiment. So that should not shock you that it's the name of the show. And because I'm all about promoting my good friends. Jeff Dunetz, you can catch him at lidblog.com, as he indicated, lidblog.com. And I have known Jeff in one fashion or another since 2004. I had and have a blog called bloviatingzeppelin.net, which is where we get Biff Zeppi, BZ, and BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, which is what you're listening to right here, by the way. And since 2004, I have had my blog. Since 2004, Jeff has had his blog. Now, I used to post a lot. Let's just say I used to post a lot. I would post at least 1 or 2 times a day. Well, Jeff has me beat hands down. He had his hands, and then he beat me with his hands down.
We lost contact. And then when we became like friends again, I didn't realize that you were the same guy I was friends with in 2004.
And
until I was emptying my emails, and I saw the email that's your email, or at least it was back then.
So
you don't remember that?
I do.
See, but that's how I realized it.
We've known each
we
other.
Were meant to be together.
Yeah, I have always been a pro-Israel kind of guy. And
yeah, but you've always been a good guy.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And for the most part, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff Dunetz, you've been mostly a pro-Israel, pro-Jewish kind of guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah.
You know, I'd say on average, wouldn't you say?
I'm also a conservative, which is really weird. Because most of the stuff I write is about conservative politics. But I am also on the board of a Zionist organization called Heirut. And I'm also on the board of the American Zionist movement.
Ah, okay. Okay. I had a barber named Root, and I used to wave at him and say, "Hey, hi, Root."
That's right. Well, the different Root, though,
okay.
I think.
All right.
But I also, if anybody sees, I am also in the Israeli government. I've been applying to be the Minister of Ice Cream.
You have my full endorsement. Where can I send the check?
I got to wait till I hear back from the new Prime Minister.
Okay. Oh, all right. Since we're talking about that. Okay, and this is why it's my show. It can go any damn where it wants. This is why Mrs. BZ is so wonderful. She just went out shopping and got me a full pint of what? Well, that would be BZ's favorite ice cream. Chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Ooh.
It's hard to argue with chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Ooh.
Except for cookies and cream ice cream, which is better. But I like yours too.
So anyway, that's why Mrs. BZ is absolutely wonderful, and it's why I adore her to death. And she is a wonderful, wonderful, tolerant woman. So you, Jeff Dunetz, and I have known each other pretty much consistently since 2004. Your blog has always been at lidblog.com, though, hasn't it? Or do I have that wrong? Probably.
It used to be Yid with Lid at Blogspot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I moved it all to, I became partners with what was then called Liberty Alliance.
Okay.
Because they kind of redid my site better, and they get advertising for me, but they don't touch content.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, it's very good. So it works out well. So I moved my site to WordPress also.
And the funny thing is, I did so right after you. I used to be aligned with Texas Fred when Texas Fred was writing a lot, and he convinced me to leave.
Fred.
Do you know Texas?
That's another
Fred?
name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, he's still in Texas. Yeah, there you go. And he convinced me to go from Blogspot over to WordPress. So then I got my own domain name, pretty much just like you. So the bottom line is Jeff and I have known each other for quite some time. And just as Jeff was kind enough to say about me, I have nothing but great things to say about Jeff. And that's why he's on the show consistently. And if you want to read his stuff, I wish to emphasize, Jeff writes a post, not one little dumb post like I write, or I used to write. I would write a post, maybe 2 posts a day. And I was fairly active. Jeff writes 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 posts a day. Jeff is very, very active. Where, Jeff? Where?
Lidblog.com.
And that would be lidblog.com for those of you who just tuned in. So let's talk about some of the stories that Jeff has written recently. He is a conservative kind of dude. This is not on his site, but I just wanted to go over this with Jeff and get his opinione, which is Italian for opinion, because I like to throw other languages in here as frequently as I can. This is from WashingtonTimes.com. Report NFL to play Black National Anthem before all major 2021 games and events. They're going to play the National Anthem, and they're also going to play the Black National Anthem period. So the question, I think, at this point is, could the NFL possibly be even more pandering than this? Jeff Dunetz.
Well, I still think they should play Hatikva, which is the Israel national anthem, which means the hope. And being a Jets fan, ever since 1969, all I've been able to do is hope. And it hasn't worked.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the Jets? The Jets?
Yeah, you know. The New York Jets.
The Jets? The Jets?
Yeah, when you're a Jet all the way. Yeah. And, you know, the
Jets?
New York Jets are my proof that God has a sense of humor.
I used to say about the Green Bay Packers in the 80s, but then they started winning for a while, so I can't really say that.
No, but you see, the thing with the Jets is that if they ever make it to a big game, which they do every couple of years, they're winning in the fourth quarter and then blow it.
Well,
and God's laughing at us.
That's in the script, I think, isn't it?
Of course.
But back to reality just for a second, because the Jets aren't really reality. The NFL reportedly plans to play the so-called Black National Anthem before all its major events in the upcoming season. As part of
when will these sports leagues understand that the reason why you watch sports is to get away from the pressures of the other stuff?
And the reason I have to say that... Yes. The reason
I don't want politics when I'm watching football.
The reason we watch sports is because to get away. We want to escape reality. That's why we're watching sports. And we don't want to...
That's why I think the Jets can win every year. It's escaping reality.
We don't go searching for reality and all the crap that we're trying to escape and have it slapped back into our faces by what I call the WCM, the woke child mob, by thugs, by steroid cases, and by pituitary cases. Keep your crap to yourself. Shut up, get out, and play the game. Or what's going to happen is what's happening right now, as Jeff Dunetz indicated, they're bleeding watchers and advertisers.
Well, their ratings are going down.
They are.
And when that happens, advertisers generally with something like the NFL, they're buying into a sponsorship for a couple of years. But when the ratings go down, the networks have to give the advertisers more commercials to make up for the ratings they're missing. So the networks begin to lose money.
And there's a reason that you would know that, Jeff Dunetz, and I realize this, I remember it as you were saying that. It's because you yourself were in advertising and happen to know that's precisely how these things function.
Well, I used to buy one of my jobs was buying TV and sponsorships.
Okay, so you would know exactly how the heck that happens. Folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunetz. He of lidblog.com. We got to take a break for a moment here, and we'll be right back after this. When I come back, if anybody is so motivated in any fashion whatsoever to telephone with your comments, quips, sarcastic comments, or questions, etc., you can call at 575-208-4481, 575-208-4481. I will put that in the chat room, and we're going to take a break and be right back after this. Jeff Dunetz is our guest tonight, and thank you, sir.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media.
Okay, hold it right there. Hold the bus. Hold the bus. Last Thursday, I spoke with Shannon Wright. And at the very end of a great 3-hour show about religion in America, where is it and where is it going, I actually cornered Shannon Wright. And she said, Michael said you were going to do this. And so I said, Shannon Wright, when are you coming back with your radio show to SHR, the Right Way morning show with Shannon and Mike? And she said she would be coming back very soon. So to that I say, yay!
I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
Unleashed Jeremy Hansen, the most explosive pro-American podcast on the planet. Pro-MAGA, pro-Trump, pro-conservative. Come join the resistance. Fight for what really matters in America. 5 p.m. Central on UJHLive.com, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or MAGAbook.com. Come join the resistance and fight for America. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen.
Do you value yourself, your family, your friends? Want to know more about how to survive, thrive, and stay alive in these dynamic times? Listen to Around the Campfire with Kate, Thursday nights and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, only on PSN TV. That's Around the Campfire with Kate. News that nobody in the MSM wants to report. Remember, train hard, train smart to survive, thrive, and stay alive.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. First half hour down. I'm BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin, and you're not. Plus, tonight we have the inimitable who shall not be imitated. That's why he's inimitable. Come on now. Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. That's lidblog.com. By the way, If you want to find out, you can follow me on Twitter at BZEP. If you would, please share this show tonight. If you're listening on Spreaker or if you're listening at shrmedia.com, 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 you can share the show from that site. Share and share alike because, as we all know, sharing is caring. This is Jeff Dunetz. He is back. And I am BZ.
And sharing is just good.
Sharing is good. It is. You were taught
Ever
that.
since Romper Room, I knew that.
People are not going to know who Romper Room is. But for that matter, people are not going to know what a romper is, much less a room. So we talked about the NFL deciding that they're going to play Lift Every Voice and Sing. And they want to emphasize, by the way, Jeff Dunetz, they want to emphasize that Lift Every Voice and Sing will not replace the national anthem, but instead will be played in addition to it, according to the report. Well, if you wanted to go out of your way to kill ratings, I know, let's further politicize sports. I haven't watched anything on the NFL, and this can be confirmed by Mrs. BZ for probably... I haven't watched a game for... Well, when was Colin Kaepernick being stupid and kneeling for everything, including following buses and fire engines, and he was kneeling for elevators and all of those things? How long has it been since Colin Kaepernick did that? 3 years?
Oh, gee, I don't... It's 2018?
Wow.
Or 2019.
That's a while ago. That's how long it's been since I've been following not following the NFL. So overall...
No, when Tim Tebow kneeled, they got mad.
Yeah, funny how that works out. So I guess it's all in the intent. I guess it's not the kneeling. It must have something to do with the intent and who you are. In other words, Tim Tebow offering up grace to God, and Colin Kaepernick saying basically, screw ya, to everybody who was there present listening to the national anthem.
Well, I have to be honest. I mean, Tim Tebow used to piss me off.
How so?
Not because he knelt, but because when he went to the Jets, he was a lousy quarterback.
Well, you know... I'll be the first to admit I don't follow the NFL. So this is a question based in ignorance. I think
but it's not just the NFL.
Well, no, what
they wrote Black Lives Matter on the NBA courts this year.
Oh, yeah. Number one,
they will put slogans on the back of their shirts.
Yeah, I was never interested in pituitary cases anyway, so I never watched the NBA. Fully cognizant of the fact that the NBA is primarily filled with thugs, as are most large, big professional sports events these days. What I was going to say about Tim Tebow is I heard something to the effect that he may be coming back to the NFL, but I don't know that for sure.
As a tight end.
And that's my point, because you mentioned, Jeff Dunetz, that Tim Tebow as a quarterback, NSM, not so much. But that tells me that if he's coming back as a runner, that probably was his forte in the first place, because this is really going to date me, and I'm not even sure you're going to get it. Or you will, if you followed the NFL.
Tim Tebow will not date you. He's married.
Oh, okay. Thank you for... Okay. I was really concerned about that. Joe Kapp. People used to say that Joe Kapp, when he played for the Minnesota Vikings, threw one of the worst trash passes ever. He could barely get a football to spiral. And so that's kind of like the football that Tim Tebow throws. But I'm glad to see that he's back in the NFL. Yes, folks, this is NFL Talk right here in BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show.
Well, Tim Tebow led USC to the national championship. And you know what quarterback did that afterwards?
No.
A quarterback who set an NFL record. Mark Sanchez is the only quarterback ever to fumble the ball into his lineman's butt on Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry to blow out your ears with the laughter. Sorry about that. I apologize. Hey, welcome to Mike in chat. I see Michael John Pasqua is in chat, so great to see you here. Jack Alexander in chat says, Tebow used to piss me off with his activities outside of football, interfered with the quality of his playing. Wait, Jack, are you saying that in a possible sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek fashion? Jack? I'm not sure. So I think.
Well, there's another sporting event coming up that I'm not going to follow.
What's that?
The Olympics.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
First they were going to let half the people in. Then they were going to let no people in. And now, I don't know if you heard, but they're not going to do, when they do the medal ceremony, they're not going to put the medals on the people's necks. They're going to hand them to them on a silver platter. Which is funny because, two of Biden's closest friends, Putin and President Xi, they like their enemies' heads handed to them on a silver platter.
I thought for a second that you were going to say they were going to take a 10-foot pole, hang it off the pole, and see if they could get it over their heads. Or maybe from a 10-foot distance, see if they could sort of lob them over the candidate, the person who had won, and it would maybe, like horseshoes. They would score points. The awarders would score points if they got the medal around the neck of the recipient who was winning. The other thing...
But the thing is that makes me wonder, is somebody in the Japanese Olympic organization speaking to, the mainstream media's holy man, Dr. Fauci?
Yes.
And that's why they're coming up with things like this?
Well, you open the door and I'm going to walk straight through it, Jeff Dunetz. Okay, the Olympic Committee decided that transgender people are just fine in the Olympics. That's just nifty peachy keen. But two, what they call now cis women, I call normal people, were banned from the Olympics for testosterone levels. There were, there were two 18-year-old athletes from Namibia, a gal named Christine Maboma and Beatrice Masalingi. They were banned from the Olympic, custom pronouncement, they were banned from the Olympic 400-meter dash because they tested for unnaturally high testosterone levels. They're banned. But transgenders are not.
When the transgender people, though, they have to have a low testosterone level. That's part of the deal.
Oh, you mean like the ones here in the United States that are running and beating all the women's records?
No. It's different. They have to have they take actually drugs to lower their testosterone level. So they're not as high as the East Germans had for all those years.
Oh.
But you know what really bothers me?
Good.
I see all these people, these guys saying they're women and beating the hell out of women in high school sports. When I was in high school, if I did that, the women would still kick my butt.
Oh, that's true for me, too. Certainly in running. Now, I don't think I was beginning weightlifting at the time.
I was a shot putter, and they'd still kick my butt.
And in running, I thought for a microsecond about going out for cross country until I was trampled by a herd of squirrels were faster than me. So cross country was not for me, but I wanted to play football for my high school.
They make you run far in cross country.
No kidding, and it really takes a lot of wind out of you. But in any event, that's the politicization of the Olympics now. Which we shouldn't not expect this, because if it's screwed up sports here in America, well, why the hell shouldn't it screw up the Olympics as well?
Well, given a choice of watching the Olympics or reruns of Family Feud, I'm watching Family Feud.
I compare it in this fashion. CNN, since January, I think since January 6th, as a matter of fact, their ratings have plummeted 75%. 75%. The ratings have plummeted from CNN. That should not. And Brian Stelter. Okay, Brian Stelter has maybe 5 people, and they're good friends, okay? They're really, really good friends on his block at home. So,
Just remember one thing.
What's that?
Brian Stelter sat on a wall. Brian Stelter had a big fall.
Oh, boy.
All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't make Brian Stelter come together again.
No, nor could they. And apparently his wife is not a pleasant person, individual, but that's a story for another day. But the NFL, the Olympics, sports are basically what I said about CNN is true now about sports. And if not, will be very shortly. The 24-hour Tibetan bell ringing channel is pulling in greater ratings than these two guys. And I have it on the down low that there will be a new cable channel, at least on Dish, maybe soon on DirecTV, that is also going to give CNN a run for its money, and that's the brand new Parakeet Training Channel. I think that's going to kick some major booty in cable, and it's going to be a low-cost edition. CNN, look out. American sports, look out. You're about to have your butts handed to you.
Just remember one thing. It's really not called DirecTV.
Oh.
There's no I there. It's DirecTV. And if you understand German or Yiddish, direct means poo.
Well, yes, that comes from the original word Dreck, D-R-E-C-K, which means, or words similar to that, Senator.
Yes.
So I think we've beaten up sports sufficiently. Last Thursday night, Jeff Dunetz, who I am speaking to right now, who is a great guy, last Thursday night I had a 3-hour round table discussion with Shannon Wright, Ken McClinton, Ralph Chittims, and Randy Perham about the status of religion in America. And it was supposed to go about an hour. Then we went 2 hours. And by the time I looked up, we were into it 3 hours. Now, all of these folks are from the East Coast, which means that for me, when I got through, it was it was around 11 o'clock. It wasn't even midnight. On their time, on the East Coast, they stayed up till 2 o'clock. One of the things that I said to them now, and the other that I would like a comment from you, Jeff Dunetz, is this. Because this is such a falsehood that is being promoted by what I term the American media maggots. Leftist Demorats, the LDAM. Leftists, Demorats, and the American media maggots. This is from AEI.org. Based on 2019 FBI data, Jews were 2.6 times more likely than blacks and 2.2 times more likely than Muslims to be victims of hate crimes. But no one wants to tell you that.
There's a reason. Because the biggest anti-Semites in America are the congressional Democrats. And I'm not just talking about the squad. Okay? There are people like, Hank Johnson, the guy who asked if Guam was going to tip over.
Oh, do I ever remember Hank Johnson?
Okay. Hank Johnson called Jews termites before Louis Farrakhan did.
Holy crap.
No, I don't think crap is religious. But anyway, Maxine Waters, I have her on video saying, well, I would never meet with AIPAC because they think they control Congress. We had a president who said that Obama, remember that guy?
Yeah.
Who the media loves and adores? He said the Jews got us into the Iraq war. The other person I know that said that was Pat Buchanan, and both of them are anti-Semites.
And isn't it odd? I don't know unless you do. I don't hear of or from Pat Buchanan anymore. Doesn't break my heart.
Well, you know, he was thrown out of the conservative movement by William F. Buckley because he was an anti-Semite.
I'd like to quote from this article, and then I have a sound bit that I'd like to play because you just reminded me of that, Jeff, and don't think you're going to get away with mentioning it and nothing happening. The article here says the FBI data for 2019 on anti-religious hate crimes also revealed that of the 1,715 victims of anti-religious hate crimes in the U.S., 1,032 were Jews, 60.2% of the total. 227 were Muslims, 13.2% of the total. Obviously, since more than half, 60.2% of the anti-religious hate crimes in 2019 were against Jews, there were more anti-religious hate crimes against Jews, 1,032, than incidents of hate crimes against all other religious groups combined. There were more Jewish hate crime victims in 2019 than the number of gay men and lesbians who were victims of hate crimes. So when people tell you, folks, that black Americans, Muslims, etc., are the greatest number of victims of hate crimes, not that I'm particularly prioritizing being a victim, but get your damn facts straight. And that's one of the things that I was promoting last Thursday. Get your facts straight.
And even the Jews in the Democratic Party are silent about it.
Yeah,
okay.
You and I have had
Schumer,
this discussion
for example,
before. Go ahead, sir.
Schumer, for example, hasn't opened his mouth about all the anti-Semites in his party.
But
for
wait,
example.
But wait. Not only is silence conspicuous, but weren't we all told, Jeff Dunetz, that silence is violence? Weren't we told that, but all the leftists? Silence is violence.
And we're told also that Donald Trump was an anti-Semite. Let me tell you something. First of all, if he was an anti-Semite, it would mean he hated all his grandchildren.
Yeah, and his daughter-in-law.
And his daughter. And his daughter-in-law. And he was the best president for Jews in the history of America.
Who removed...
And I'm not talking about his Israel stuff. I'm talking about because he was great for Israel, too.
Okay.
But he was the most pro-Jewish president. He did the most legislation to prevent anti-Semitism of any American president.
And I wouldn't doubt that for a moment. So, since he moved the embassy, the U.S. Embassy, to Jerusalem, I think it was in Tel Aviv originally, was it not, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, so he moved it. The question for you then right now, sir, is during this administration, is it going to get moved back?
No. Biden's doing a lot of other bad stuff, but he's not going to he's not going to move the embassy back. He might give the Golan, take away recognizing Israel's right over the Golan Heights, but he won't move the embassy out of. But he's also going to put a Palestinian embassy in Jerusalem.
Oh, because why not? Hashtag because why not? Okay,
exactly.
I've got, what do I have? I've got 6 minutes before the top of the hour, and I have to take the top of the hour break. So that gives me enough time to play this. This is about 2 minutes. Jeff Dunetz opened the door, and I'm going to walk through this, and I haven't played this in a long time, but his comment about Hank Johnson will have some people going, well, Hank Johnson, who's he? And what is Jeff talking about? Well, here's Hank Johnson actually saying this in public.
This is a island that at its widest level is, 12
He's talking about Guam.
Shore to shore, and at its smallest level, or smallest location, it's 7.
Okay, for those who don't know, Hank Johnson is a representative Demorat from Georgia.
Miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
He's talking to Admiral Robert Willard of the U.S. Navy.
Small island and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will...
Wait for it.
Will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
Okay, you are Admiral Willard. How do you keep a straight face?
The Guam population, I think, currently about 175,000, and again, with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000 more into the population.
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
And now you know all you need to know about Representative
And do you know who he replaced in Congress?
Probably someone equally intelligent.
Cynthia McKinney.
Oh, I remember her. Yeah, she was a fruit bat.
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Or as the line in Blazing Saddles goes, you know, they're the common people. They're the fruit of the earth. You know, morons.
Okay. We're talking to Jeff Dunetz tonight. I'm BZ, and you are in the Zeppelin if you happen to... You're in the Zeppelin. No, I'm in the Zeppelin. You're in the Saloon. Damn it, I wish you would get that right. All the time people are saying, am I in the Zeppelin? No, you're in the Saloon. The Saloon. How many times do I have to tell you this, people? When I come back after the break, Jeff and I are going to go over more of his stories, and what you'll get roughly in 2 hours is Jeff and I solving all of the world's problems, as I promised we would tonight, and I'm always good for my promises. And Jeff, before we go for the top of the hour break, again, tell folks where you can be found, because this is where you write, this is where you make money. This is your central repository of all your cool articles. Where be that, sir?
Lidblog.com.
Lidblog.com. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back continuing with Jeff Dunetz. If you guys want to be really obvious... sorry, first day with my brand new mouth this week. Obvious... If you guys want to be obstinate, call us, Jesus, 575-208-4481. Don't you all call it once, because you're blocking all the lines.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is he that is me, bringing perspective from across the sea. Join me, Jack Alexander, 4 days a week for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast. as I take a unique outsider's look at the news and issues affecting life and liberty here in the USA. I'll show you what the mainstream media refuses to. Politics, border security, defense, healthcare, travel, nothing is off limits. Catch the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast each Monday to Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. Also, check out the website, www.jackalexanderexperiment.com.
Come listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, for the best in late-night Conservatarian wireless talk radio at SHRmedia.com. Raised as a free-range child with dirt and freedom, BZ is broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room at SHRmedia.com. Now, with 18% more umbrage and 20% more bulbosity than previous shows, and with delicious Liberty additives. Remember, BZ realizes that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the Unpleasant Blind Guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for airtimes. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EDL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm back. He, she, and it are back. I'm BZ. I'm the Bloviating Zeppelin. Go to shrmedia.com. shrmedia.com. Jump into our sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room. I had to reupholster the sofa in the chat room, so it is now recovered with the finest of Corinthian leathers. Finest Corinthian leathers. Boy, that dates. And you can be in the chat room. Now, that's called Los... Remember I said that we're doing languages tonight? That's Los Chatos Rumos, which is chat room in Spanish. Now, I went for Italian earlier. Los Chatos Rumos is chat room in Spanish, and you can be there. We're talking to Jeff Dunetz tonight, and...
By the way, while you were reupholstering the sofa...
Yeah?
I was painting the Jewish lobby.
What color? I was hoping a teal or maybe a cerulean or a burnt umber, perhaps?
No, it was just more like a linen white.
Okay. All right, that's good. That's it's not a glaring white, and it shouldn't be offensive except to every Democrat. Oh, speaking of that, here's this right now.
The Bloviating Zeppelin's HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update, courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
We'll get right. That's right, kids. We'll get right back to Jeff Dunetz after this. Remember, HeyJackass.com, go there. It illustrates Chicago values and the values displayed by Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. From HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago's values. July today, shot and killed 54, shot and wounded 245, total shot 299, total homicides 59. Week in progress, July 11th through July 17th, shot and killed 12, shot and wounded 58, total shot 70, total homicides, 13. Year to date, this is the biggie, shot and killed 387, shot and wounded 1,852, total shot 2,239. Total homicides, 412. Chicago, you should be, and Mayor Lori Lightfoot, you should be so proud. Now, from the 2021 Chicago shot clock, a person is wounded every 2 minutes and 6 seconds in the city of Chicago, and a person is murdered every 11 minutes and 25 seconds in the city of Chicago. And folks, let's all go to Chicago because...
Bloviating Zeppelin's HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Now that's a story. That's a city that you want to be in and go to. Jeff Dunetz, shouldn't the people in Chicago be so proud?
You know, I got a question.
Sir.
I mean, it's a really honest question.
Okay.
Lori Lightfoot, is she just a bug-eyed alien from, some strange planet?
Running around the internet, and you can do this, folks. Get on your favorite search engine if you're on your tablet or phone right now, as I mentioned this, and your interest may be temporarily piqued. That's Piqued, by the way, not Peeked or Peaked, comma, you spelling Nazis. Jeez, you guys are relentless. Would you just please stop? Anyway, if you go to your favorite search engine and put in her name, Lori Lightfoot, something similar to before and after, you'll discover that at one point in her life, she did pretty much look like, your average human being. And so right now, she has a tendency towards the Admiral Akbar look, and also the Michael Keaton Beetlejuice fame look. I don't get it. What's with the circles around your eyes thing? But, okay, to each his own. If OMB can be orange, I guess Lori Lightfoot can do the Lori Lightfoot thing. But it is weird. It is very weird.
It is weird, and I think one of the reporters should sneak into her office and say Beetlejuice 3 times and she'll disappear.
You mean in Lori Lightfoot's office where she sent out an email replicating 30 or 40 times, I need office time every day, I need office time every day, I need office time every day, I need office time every day? That Lori Lightfoot?
Well, she works hard.
She does, and maybe that's why she needs office time.
It's hard to count all those bodies.
Every single day. I'd like to go next to a story that you wrote today, as a matter of fact. Jeff Dunetz. The headline is MSNBC's Joy Reid claims Republicans are neo-Nazis. Well, MSNBC isn't sometime this week. It is or was MSNBC's birthday, which originally was MS, Microsoft, NBC, and it was Gates partnering up with NBC. And I don't know exactly what the original point is, but now they're nothing more than a leftist organization. And you wrote today, in a recent edition of Read Out, Joy Reid, MSNBC, and as you wrote, and I would agree, all-around bigot, Joy Reid, went on an unhinged rant painting all Republicans as neo-Nazis and domestic terrorists bent on creating a dictatorship. Now, as I've said, from basically 2016 on, and I emphasized Monday night on the Ken McClinton show, Wednesday night on the Ken McClinton show, whatever it is that leftists, Demorats, or the American media maggots say, it's number one, it's opposite of the truth. And number two, it's exactly what they're doing. So it is they who are being the neo-Nazis, domestic terrorists, and it is they who are bent on creating a dictatorship. Any addendums to that, Jeff Dunetz?
It's, that's one of my hot buttons. If somebody starts talking about and comparing something to the Nazis, it really pisses me off. Okay, maybe because I had relatives in the concentration camps. I don't know. But, for example, the Nazis tattooed numbers on people's arms. I don't know any Republicans that do that. Do you?
I'm not aware of any. Not in the history of history.
Okay. Do Republicans tell Jews to go into the shower, and it's not a shower, it's really a gas chamber, and then burn all their bodies?
I'm not aware of that. And the number 6 million keeps coming up.
If they're not doing any of that stuff, then guess what? They're not Nazis. And it really bugs me, okay? And I've beaten up Republicans that called Obama a Nazi because you don't make... There are certain things that are not for political fodder. The Holocaust, I don't think you use slavery as political fodder, and I don't think you use apartheid. Those are singular events in world history. Okay? My mother the car, yes. You can make fun of that. Because that was really lousy TV. Or Ishtar.
Oh, God. I thought I had scrubbed... I had bleached the movie Ishtar with Warren Beatty completely out of my brain. Now I'm going to have to live with that tonight. Thank you, JEFF Dunetz.
Oh, well. Think of The Graduate instead.
Oh, good Dustin Hoffman movie with also the gal who became the wife of Mel Brooks.
Melvin Kaminsky. Also known as Mel Brooks.
We were talking about earlier. This is a quote from her. Her quote is, "And it all culminates in that new bizarro world, Republican ideology doing everything in their power to make it so hard for you to vote that you can never vote them out." Stop. It's gaslighting. It's a lie. When they're accusing you of that, they are doing it themselves. Wake up.
When is one reporter going to say, okay, give me an example? What one thing that they're doing in a Republican state is going to prevent people from voting?
The only reporter that I ever see at any kind of a press conference is Peter Doocy asking a question and sadly not asking the most penetrating of questions, in my opinion. He's the only voice asking actual questions of the public. How do you keep a republic like this? It is gaslighting writ large, larger than it's ever been written before that I can think of. Let's see if I can
get... Well, what's more important to ask about? Why the president doesn't want to scold Cuba on being a communist state? Or what is his favorite flavor of ice cream?
There are so many places we could go with this. You sent me a place that we could go. I'll see if I can. Gosh, will I do this? Let's see if I can do that.
These are just simple. The 20-second clip.
Yeah, here we go.
These are people of the land, the common clay of the New West. You know, morons.
Do you know that line was, it wasn't in the script. It was an ad-lib.
Well, you can see in the video, sorry folks, you can't see it because I don't have enough internet juice to play videos anymore. You can see in that little clip there, Cleavon Little is busting up from Gene Wilder having said that. It's killing Cleavon Little.
Because he didn't know it was coming. It was great.
Okay, let me see if I can play this video in your article today with the lovely Reed. Let me see if this will play for me. Why don't I have video? Oh, wait. I know why. Hang on one second. I'm on the wrong channel. No, I won't be able to play it. Okay, sorry. In any event.
Somebody tweeted me today and say, why do you bother with, like, her? She's a nothing. And the thing is I bother with her because there are people that believe she's telling the truth.
You bother with her.
And my job is to expose the truth. And you know what? It's not just the Nazi references. She's made anti-Catholic references. She's made said horrible things about homosexuals. Okay, she's an idiot, and she shouldn't be on television.
No, not at all. You and I exist, and the reason that I'm here, and people frequently or have said, especially when I used to give my email out, I would get lovely mail, love mail. I'd get love mail from people who would say, you're not being equal. You're not portraying both sides. To which I reply, you want to see anything remotely resembling both sides? Well, number one, you're not going to see that except perhaps on Fox, and certainly not always on Fox. But you do see 95 percentile of the media in the United States push the hard left narrative. So I, in my little teeny winky world, my job is to exist as pushback to all that crap. So my job is to let you hear the stuff that mostly you will not hear or read or have the ability to read or listen to or watch when I add video. That's what I exist for.
One other thing I mentioned in that article is that just like 2 months ago, she claimed that people on the right will trade all those tax cuts that Trump did for the ability to openly say the N-word, like in the good old days. Now, let's think about what the good old days were.
God.
Slavery? Was that the good old days that she's talking about? Who fought for slavery when the Republicans were fighting against it? The Demorats. In the 60s, when people were trying to push through civil rights legislation, who was filibustering it? The Democrats. You know, so don't give me this stuff that all the conservatives, all the people on the right want to use the N-word like the good old days. And if you remember, you know, she started talking about the Holocaust. Well, Hitler's National Socialist German Workers' Party, which was shortened into Nazi, he was a socialist. He was a leftist, just like AOC, just like, just like Joy Reid. So don't tell me that. I'm sick and tired of people telling me that, well, if you're conservative, you must be a racist.
No,
because I'm not.
No, you're not. I'm not. But I will stand up for myself. I will stand up for myself, and I will not allow people to slander an entire race.
That's right.
As I have said, no one is equal until everyone is equal. And now, is not Martin Luther King Jr. turning over in his grave about what is happening, apparently in his name, and I'm not even sure that it's in his name anymore. Here are things that people, Demorats, the LDAM, leftist Demorats and American media maggots, don't want you to know about slavery. Joy Reid, how about the first legal slave owner in American history was a black tobacco farmer named Anthony Johnson. Truth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
History. North Carolina's largest slave owner in 1860 was a black plantation owner named William Ellison. Truth. History. American Indians owned thousands of black slaves. Truth. History. Let me stop right there. Everybody always talks about the Native Americans being the most beautiful, in-touch individuals on the entire planet. Here's life. Here's what would have happened had the American Indian or the Native American had their own Bronze Age or Industrial Age before Europe. They would have built boats, crossed the ocean, and kicked the ass of Europe. That's the nature of humanity, period. How about this? In 1830, there were 3,775 free black people who owned 12,740 black slaves. Truth, history. Many black slaves were allowed to hold jobs, own businesses, and even own real estate. Brutal black-on-black slavery was common in Africa for thousands of years. Stop. Think about it just for a second, but people like Joy Reid won't or can't. For every buyer, there has to be a seller. Most slaves brought to America from Africa were purchased from black slave owners. Slavery was common for thousands of years.
You know who owned more slaves than the Americans? The Arabs.
Yes.
The Arabs had the most black slaves.
And
but
still
you know
exists
today. That was 100 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
It's over.
Yeah. Who ended legal chattel slavery? Jeff?
Some guy named Lincoln?
What was their melanin count? Was it whites? I know who it wasn't. It wasn't Demorats. That's who
Well, the other
wasn't.
thing is when they talk about reparations, my family at the time was in Ukraine getting their ass kicked by the Cossacks.
Yeah.
If they're going to start making me pay reparations for slavery, they got to pay reparations for all the stuff that my family went through from the Russian Cossacks. And all the stuff that they stole from them, and they weren't all, my great grandparents ran across roofs to get to the docks to get out of Russia. So you know what? Let's not talk reparations.
No, my great-great-great-granduncle Johns fought for the blue. So reparations, no, you know what? I'll be blunt. Go to hell.
Well, if you go far back, my ancestors were African slaves. They were slaves in Egypt. Where's Egypt?
Yeah. Looks to me like North Africa. Or am I wrong?
Well, guess what?
I'm wrong.
Live with today. When it's interesting because the Constitution starts in order to make a more perfect union. It doesn't say we're perfect. It says we want to be more perfect. And instead of trying to tear us apart and being divisive, chip in and make us more perfect. And I can't think of any other country in the world that is more perfect than we are. You think of one?
No. It's been said that this country is an experiment in progress. It's been people allege that it's a democracy. It's when you don't even know what your country is, because I've taken the live class from Professor Michael Jones. We are a republic. We are a constitutionally federated republic. We're not a democracy. If we were a democracy, then all you'd have to do is say, you know what? Majority rules. 51 people vote for X. They win.
And if you read what Madison wrote in the Federalist Papers, one of the reasons we built the Constitution the way it was built, was to prevent the tyranny of the majority.
Exactly, which is why we have checks and balances today. Let me ask you this, Jeff Dunetz.
My wife doesn't let me near the checkbook, so I don't have checks.
Okay. But you do have balances.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, or let me ask this in terms of a percentile. Do you have confidence that everyone in Congress, all 435, and everyone in the Senate, have at one point in their lives read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights through and through, much less read the Federalist Papers?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think very few of them have. I think Ted Cruz has, and Mike Lee, because I've heard them talk about it.
Well, and people who are constitutional scholars, because that's their job and what you should know. But see,
well, you're talking about the people of Congress, though.
Yeah. A good bulk of those people are lawyers, which, in truth, doesn't bespeak well of lawyers on its face.
Well, it's like the old story. What's the difference between a dead lawyer in the road and a dead skunk in the road? There are skid marks in front of the skunk.
Okay. What's black and brown and looks good on an attorney?
What?
A Rottweiler.
See?
There we go. See, folks, once again, Attorney Talk with BZ and Jeff Dunetz, giving the finest in attorney jokes from just a foot or two around, much less miles. Let's go into another story that you have written recently, yesterday, Jeff Dunetz, from lidblog.com. You wrote a story about DHS Secretary Mayorkas. Mexican drug cartels see, Cubans and Haitians no. What do you mean by that, Jeff Dunetz?
Well, you know, he's okay with people sneaking across the border from Mexico, but what he said is that if you try to come to America via the water, meaning Cubans and Haitians, forget it. You're not going to get in. Now, when you think about it, there's actually a real reason for that. Cuban Americans tend to vote conservative.
Okay, that again. And that is the whole point of his statement. You have nailed it, Jeff Dunetz.
And actually, if anybody's interested, I put up late this afternoon, DeSantis had a press conference about, you know, America should be getting them, the Cubans, their internet because the government cut it off. And the only way they can tell people what's happening is if they have internet. And actually, he had somebody from the FCC there saying, you know what, I agree with them.
That's true, and I'm going to lidblog.com. Here is the headline that Jeff Dunetz wrote today. Governor DeSantis, Thursday's presser, calls for Biden to restore the internet to Cuban people. And that was your exact point.
But then there's the other point, though, that I told you this afternoon, that to President Biden and the other leftists that run the government, okay, they treat communism like Voldemort was treated in the Harry Potter books.
Oh, yeah.
Remember they used to call Voldemort,
yeah.
He who cannot
be named. Yes, exactly.
And to them, communism is the despotic regime that can't be named. Because they still won't name, you know, they'll say, you know, they got to be nice to their people. But they still won't say that communism is bad and that's why they're not nice to the people. They claim that the people in Cuba are protesting because they're not getting vaccines.
Yeah.
Why are they screaming freedom?
Well, come on. Would you stop asking logical questions? Jeez, Jeff, know your place, mister.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You think it's all about pushback. You must be another one of those Republicans who think that it's all about you. God.
No, it's never about me. I'm a married man. I have children. I come last.
Yeah, that's very true. There's another story that you did. Oh, wait a minute. No. Okay, I can't go here yet. I have one more break to play. I am BZ, and this is Jeff Dunetz. We are talking to him for the entire 2 hours. And again, Jeff Dunetz, thank you so kindly for being here for the entire show, sir. I greatly appreciate it. So
I'm glad I'm here.
I am really glad you're here, too. We will do this and be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Southern Sense is conservative talk with Annie, the radio chick you bellows as host, and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific, on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hi, this is Eric Thompson. Please check out my new Week in Review show, For Liberty's Sake, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Check out forlibertysake.com.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the final sector of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. An hour and a half has already gone by. You were in the final 27 minutes of the Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And we have been speaking tonight to Jeff Dunetz, he of lidblog.com. That is lidblog.com. And because we are in a bar, naturally...
Folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
So take that to heart. Jeff Dunetz, I always have a great time when you are here. I have had a great time tonight. Sadly, Sergeant Booker has booked, and I invited everybody to call. Thank God that the phone went down, because I had so many calls that it backed up my phone system. But if you want to squeak in, folks, and I know who you are, if you want to squeak in, call 5... What? Jeff, what?
Nothing.
What? Okay. Call 575-208-4481. And I'll try to squeak you in. There are literally thousands of people calling right now. Thousands. There's a call from Anchorage coming in right now. I can't take it. I'm looking for that one really specific good call. And if that's you, make sure that you call in 575-208-4481. Okay, now I'm going to tell the truth just for a moment. I know people don't call for three reasons. Number one, some people don't call because they're just not calling people. They don't like the way they sound on the telephone, or, things like that. Okay, I get it. Reason number two, I'm on really, really late. And if you're on the East Coast right now, it's 12:35. Well, who on the East Coast stays up this late? Well, the people who are guests on my show do. Okay, so I get that. I get that. Well, the third deal is I understand. It's not a 1-800 number. It's not a 900 number. It's a 575 area code. By the way, that's Roswell, New Mexico, if it means anything to anybody, because I had a choice of area codes. I could not choose an 800 number or a 900 number, but I'm telling you this. When I move to the new digs in a free state, I will get, just for this show, an 800 or a 900 or whatever the hell they're using for a toll-free number these days. I will get a toll-free number. And so I understand people's reticence to not want to call because some people just don't like to hear their voice or they're not really callers. I get it. And I'm on really, really late. I get it. Or what a lot of other people have told me was, I'm not really interested in racking up long-distance charges to call a radio show. I wouldn't do it for Larry Elder, and I'm not going to do it for you. By the way, stop. This is great. Everybody knows that I'm moving to a free state. Everybody knows that I'm leaving California. Always spell it with a K. But I'm going to stay long enough, although I have a house right now. I'm still in California. I'm going to stay long enough to make sure that I vote Gavin Newsom out and that I vote Larry Elder in as governor for the state of California. He is running for governor of state of California, and that will be my final high holy fuck you to the state of California. Always spell it with a K. Larry. Oh, by the way, I threw some cash at Larry because I throw cash at people in whom I believe. I think, Jeff Dunetz, that is great news. Larry Elder running for state of California.
I happen to like Larry. Good guy. He's smart. He's conservative. By the way, you mentioned Roswell.
Yes, sir.
You know what date that UFO crashed?
1947, June, I think.
July 8th.
Oh, really? Oh, just last week.
My birthday.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot your birthday.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I was born 10 years later, but it just seems a strange coincidence.
10 years later, you're a kid. You're a kid.
Yeah, well, I was born in the Dodgers, and the Dodgers and Giants both moved away from New York.
Oh, that is so sad. Jack Alexander in chat says, it's still not toll-free from my exiled incarceration. Oh, Jack, that's right. Okay, this is one thing we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And, folks, if you want to go to, let's see, jackalexanderexperiment.com, jackalexanderexperiment.com. I'm going to be on Jack's show tomorrow night. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Although, by the time I call tomorrow, it'll be the day after, because that's how Australia rolls. As a matter of fact, that's why I created this for Jack Alexander.
Tonight's topics aren't going to discuss themselves. So it's tomorrow's news today with Australia's Jack Alexander here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
And I always tell Jack when I have him on the show, give me some winning lottery numbers. Help a brother out, would you? Because you know what's going to happen today because it's tomorrow in Australia.
Let me ask you something. Does Jack do video?
Has Jack ever helped me out, Jeff Dunetz? No.
He doesn't. Does Jack do video, though?
He does.
So when you go on his show, are you upside down because you're the other hemisphere?
I am. I am. And when I flush the toilet when I'm on his show, due to the Coriolis effect, my toilet flushes and empties the opposite direction.
Amazing, isn't it?
What's up with that?
I don't know. I don't know.
So Jack wrote
all
in
I
check.
know is that if it was up to the Democrats, all our tax dollars, they don't care which way it would circle around, but they throw it in the toilet.
No, that's true. What we're going to be talking about, I'm guessing, because Jack is not here to tell me this, but I'm going to ask him anyway, is Australia is on another lockdown. And I looked at the numbers, and I'm going to regale these with Jack. The numbers for all of Australia: 920 people have died of Wuhan-19 in Australia. Period. That's it. Not this month and last month, not even this year. That's this year and last year. 920 people have died of Wuhan-19 in Australia. They locked down
Wow,
once.
that's like a week in a Cuomo nursing home.
That's a couple of days in a Cuomo nursing home. And I doubt we'll actually see any prosecution of Cuomo. That's a story for another day. But now, where Jack lives in Victoria, which is southern, I think, southeast Victoria, if I'm visualizing correctly, 800 and some odd, blah, blah, people have died in Victoria. Now, for whatever reason, and we'll talk about that with Jack, although I know why, I just can't go into it right here because I don't have the time. Most of those people have died in Victoria. So Jack, due to, I'm guessing, 860 people over 2 years, Jack Alexander is under lockdown again. And since I happen to bring up coronavirus, JEFF DUNETZ from lidblog.com, if you would put on your great Karnak turban for a moment and see all these old references that so few people are going to get. Put on your Karnak turban and see if you can look into the future. And, Jack says, by the way, this was a lockdown for the 5th time in Australia. 5th time. JEFF DUNETZ, put on your turban and see if you can reach into the future and figure out, are we in the United States? Are we going to go into lockdown again under Biden, do you think?
Well, not in Florida.
Yeah.
Not in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be states. I mean, California.
Oh, it's a given.
You know, but if you look at the death statistics, the states that did not do lockdown or that got out of lockdown earliest are the ones that have the fewer deaths.
Now that's...
I mean, New York and California have a lot more dead per capita than Florida, for example.
Well,
and Florida is mostly old Jews and Cubans. That's it.
But the other thing is,
like,
Florida.
You know, Florida is known as God's waiting room.
Where's my?
That's where Jews go to die.
Where's my dinger? Where? Okay, here it is. Okay, you get a bell for that. Jeez, it's true. What I submit is that at this point, everybody who wants the jab has gotten one. Everybody knows. I don't think there are 5-year-olds in this nation who knows, yeah, you know what? Vaccines are available and I know where to get one. Just like I know where to go to get an ID to vote. So I don't think it's a matter of there are still people who didn't get the message. I think it's a matter of, you know, we got the message and we've made our decision and no.
Look, I had 2 Pfizer pokes, okay? Everyone in my family has had 2 Pfizer pokes.
Okay.
I think it's great. It worked. Other people don't. And you know what? The Constitution says the government can't make someone take it. And I'll tell you something else. It's the same people that go around and say, well, you know what? We got to kill babies because it's their body, their choice. Won't let people decide whether they want to take the vaccine. So it's not their bodies and their choice.
You, Jeff Dunetz, have hit upon the major difference between leftists and conservatives. If you took the vaccine, God bless you, that's wonderful. If you want it, you should take it. And in my position as a conservative, I would not stop or even remotely attempt to stop you from doing that, because that's right. Your wish. That's what you want to do, and you should do that. The major difference being if it's not something completely demanded or advocated by leftists, they will stop or prohibit you from doing it, or insist that if they want you to, you must do it. You have no choice. And there lies the difference. And remember when the
vaccines first came out, they were saying, well, you know what? They came out under Trump, so I won't take it.
Oh, that was Kamala Harris.
That was Kamala.
Saying precisely that.
And since she crossed the border into Mexico, didn't she do that? No, she didn't. Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, imagine that. Boy, that's kind of a shocker.
But the whole purpose of the Constitution was one phrase: government, get off my back.
Right.
Everything in the Constitution, all the amendments, etc., can be squeezed into that one phrase. It's like, and I always say that the mission statement is a declaration of independence. Our rights are given to us endowed by our Creator, and the Constitution guarantees that the government won't take our rights away. So anybody saying that the government should mandate taking a vaccine doesn't believe in the Constitution.
No,
it's as simple as that.
That's true, which again is reflective on leftists, Demorats, and what I term the American media maggots want to be able to tell you what to do, and there is no ability on your end to not do what they say or not say. They demand it, period, end of statement. You mentioned Kamala Harris. Here she is back in 2020, I think during a debate, or this was on NBC, if I'm not mistaken. And here's what she had to say about the vaccine then.
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking.
And there you have it. It's the science, except we've discovered over the 1.5 to 2 years that the science is the science when leftists want it to be the science. It's not the science when it's inconvenient for them. We love the CDC. We hate the CDC. We love the WHO. We hate the WHO. If they're not in lockstep with the leftists.
I get sick when I wear a mask. And this isn't a joke. I get nauseous.
No, I completely understand.
Okay? So I don't wear a mask unless I have to. But during the worst of the pandemic, even though I didn't think it did anything, I wore one. Why? Because, my wife has a heart condition, and I wanted to make sure. But it's my choice.
Exactly. And why? Why would I ever attempt to convince you otherwise, Jeff Dunetz? That's your choice.
And really all you have to do, if you want to follow the science, is read what Fauci said today versus, or if he said today what you didn't like, wait till tomorrow because he'll say what you like.
And that's the biggest conundrum with all of this is no one can agree on the science, even the leftists, because the science is always changing. And I've heard, well, science always changes. Okay, well, what about the science of those who want to be free in terms of either taking a vaccine or not taking a vaccine? I submit this all, sometimes things are really simple. Jeff Dunetz, and I would like your weighing in on this. Sometimes things, especially in the past, since at least 2016. Sometimes things are no more difficult than whatever Trump wanted, we'll do the absolute opposite, which is to say, had Trump advocated against hydroxychloroquine, you would have seen everyone and their brothers running towards hydroxychloroquine, which is a cheap and effective remediant and probably a damn good prophylactic regarding Wuhan 19. Whatever he wanted, close the borders. If Trump had said, you must have open borders, the LDAM would be falling all over themselves to say that we must have security at our border. Sometimes things are that simple. Jeff Dunetz, your thoughts?
Well, in New York State, I was legislated that I had to wear a mask. However, it's okay for people to cross the border who we don't know without being tested for COVID. It's exactly what you said. If Trump says something, they're going to do and it's not just Trump. If a Republican says something, they're going to do the exact opposite. Why? They hate us. We see our job as conservatives as making sure this experiment works. They see their job as putting themselves in power forever.
Which is where the bulk of these directives are coming from. HR 1 is nothing more than a naked power grab. Well, and then there was this
God,
today.
No, please don't say that. Nancy Pelosi is pushing it, and the thought of her doing anything naked makes me ill.
I know, but we can always wear blinders, can't we?
Okay.
This was discovered either today or yesterday. I don't remember which one. We've since discovered, because some emails have been revealed, that the U.S. military, under the direction of Biden and Harris, is covertly transporting illegals into the U.S. from the border. The email came out. It was revealed by a whistleblower. And in the email, it said essentially, no photographs of this happening and don't tell anyone. So essentially what they're doing is it's unprecedented. It's illegal, purposely turning ICE into some sort of a highly paid resettlement agency, the goal of which is to turn red states blue, make no mistake. I want to read from the email.
That's the Cubans, because they vote red.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is the email.
The scary part is that then they're turning on the people who say, well, when we do voting, we want to make sure it's clean. We want to make sure that everybody who deserves to vote gets to vote, but only those people. Because we believe in what the Supreme Court called one man, one vote.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, stop right there just for a second, because that's the last story I want to get into before we leave. But I got to get to this email. Then that's the story, Jeff Dunetz, I want to get into next. This email, I'm going to quote from a copy. This is from Matthew J. Burrows, Lieutenant Colonel, USAF, 87 FTS, Laughlin Air Force Base. Dear Red Bulls, that's the cohort that they're called. Over the next few days, weeks, or months, you may see passenger aircraft on our ramp. That is to say, civilian aircraft on Laughlin Air Force Base, folks. Over the next few weeks or months, you may see passenger aircraft, not military aircraft, on our ramp transporting undocumented non-citizens. That's what he wrote, undocumented non-citizens. Please review the attached public affairs guidance on the issue. In coordination with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense, run by Lloyd Austin, racist. In coordination with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Del Rio Border Patrol will be using the Laughlin Air Force Base runway to transport undocumented non-citizens via Boeing 737s. Matthew J. Burrows, Lieutenant Colonel, USAF at Laughlin Air Force Base, says, this is right from the email. Do not take photographs and refrain from posting anything on social media. If anyone asks you about it, refer them to public affairs. The only reason that this is included in the email is you, as an American citizen, are not supposed to know that illegal aliens are being transported by the federal government via civilian aircraft onto military bases at the behest of Biden and Harris in order to fuck over the United States of America and turn it blue. There is no other reason for that. And further, as we've just been discussing, do we know, has there been any kind of affirmation that these people have all been COVID-19 tested? And if they show symptoms, would they be excluded from sitting on that plane? Because we're certainly worried like hell about Wuhan 19, but probably my guess is no one cares about whether those people test positive.
No, because they're sending them to red states.
That's
what
the
do
goal.
They care?
That's the goal.
I just got one question.
Sir.
You mentioned that in the letter they were called undocumented non-citizens?
Let's see. That they were called specifically by him, the phrase was undocumented non-citizens.
So if I don't have a driver's license and I steal a car, am I an undocumented non-car owner or car thief or something like that?
That's a damn good question.
I don't get this undocumented thing.
Yeah.
Is a kidnapper an undocumented parent?
Well, he's not documented, that's for sure. You got a damn good...
An undocumented executioner?
You got a damn good point, mister. Which is why I read you. I want to go over this one final article that relates exactly to this that you wrote about, that you wanted to go over, so I'll read the headline. This is from you 2 days ago from lidblog.com. The headline is, Democrats are fighting against one man, one vote, not voter suppression. Let me read that again. Democrats are fighting against one man, one vote, not voter suppression. Jeff Dunetz, what do you mean by that?
I mean that the Constitution guarantees that my vote in a national election will be equal to, my vote will be equal to anyone else in my state who votes the same thing, who votes another legal voter. Because, it's not really no such thing as a national election. It's really 50 state elections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But every vote should be worth the same thing as another vote. But when they let people who aren't supposed to vote, that means my vote isn't worth as much as it was supposed to.
And I should add, it diminishes the entire concept of the United States of America at its foundational levels.
Right. And I don't know if this is accurate because I call us a democratic republic.
Professor Michael Jones would have an issue with you, but okay.
You know, but anyway, the whole purpose of voting is that the citizens should have, each citizen should be equal in their power to elect. And when they let non-citizens or they let people vote more than once and things like that, they're making citizens vote have less weight than they're supposed to. That is fighting against one man, one vote. And if you look at the laws that people are putting through, they're not suppressing votes. They're not suppressing. You know, first of all, I haven't read any of these votes that said, well, you know, if you're a minority, you can't vote, but if you're white, you can vote. The same rules apply to all the people.
It's really funny, Jeff Dunetz. You should talk about that. And if you're interested in weighing in, I will invite you. I'm probably going to invite Randy Perham back next week. He and I have been corresponding back and forth on Facebook when I posed the question, and he posed it to his Facebook readers, and I said, provide for me very specific examples, times, dates, articles corroborating evidence where Black Americans have not been allowed to vote. And I don't mean in the 1800s or the early 1900s.
I have one example.
I want to know, give me something.
In the recent Israeli Knesset elections,
okay,
Black Americans didn't vote. Black Israelis voted, but not Black Americans.
God, you get me every time.
But other than that, okay, I mean, they're complaining about the Arizona bill. Okay, the Arizona bill prevents individuals from using donations to cover the cost of the election offices. You remember Mark Zuckerberg and his wife